fucking energy to even try to fix the goddamn mic. I mean, fuck it all. Oh, sometimes I get a feeling. Yeah. I want to see how high this is. It's like my head's right there. Crank that little bitch up. Look at how big. Look at big in here. Small in here. No, you big in here. Fuck. God damn, I got the energy. Shit's going up. That shit's when that bitch lay down. I'm finna go. Lay down. This is the 24th fucking stream. And I ain't got a motherfucking green bean. I'm doing this because I'm trying to make a lot of green. All a nigga got is $1 and a dream. Is there anybody out there that want to hear me stream? Let's get into the motherfucking reactions, bitch. Or should I just cook on stream? I'm finna go lay.
I'm Frank Proto, professional chef and culinary instructor, and today I'm gonna show you the best way to make steak, Frank style. We're talking how to go from a sad, gray, flabby piece of meat to a perfectly seasoned, perfectly cooked, happy piece of steak. This is Steak 101. My perfect steak is a really nice marbled piece of meat with some fat in it. It's seasoned and crusty on the outside, and it's soft and juicy in the middle. There's two secrets to getting your steak right: seasoning it properly, and then cooking it to the proper temperature. Well, I want you to take a second, relax, be patient, season your meat right, and you're gonna get it right. In front of me, I have a beautifully marbled New York strip steak that's cut to about 1.5 inches. This cut and this size is where you're gonna get the maximum amount of juicy inside and crunchy outside. You're not gonna find that in the shrink wrap, in the shelf, or in the cooler. You have to go to the butcher and ask them to cut it this size. Most butchers will not charge you extra to custom cut it for you. Before we cook this, we wanna season it, and I'm gonna show you what I feel is proper seasoning. I like to start out with salt and pepper. I go light on the pepper. You'll notice that I'm seasoning high up. When I season higher, I get a better dispersion of the pepper. Don't forget the top and the sides of your steak, please. I like to go light on the pepper because it tends to burn, so I'm not gonna put too much on. I just want a little bit of that flavor there. And then I have kosher salt here. People will say use table salt. I think that that's horrible. I think that table salt is too salty, believe it or not. So I get a nice handful of salt, go up high, and I wanna get a beautiful kind of like, it looks like a lightly snow-covered field. Make sure that we get all the sides. I'm gonna season the outside generously, but none of that salt gets inside the steak. So I'm gonna get a nice salty crust on the outside. The inside is basically unseasoned. So when I take that bite of the crusty outside and the juicy inside, and it mixes in my mouth, the seasoning turns out perfect. It's not gonna be salty. I tend to be a minimalist when it comes to seasoning my steak. I don't really do any rubs or marinades with my steak. For me, I spent the money on the steak, I wanna taste the meat. Steak is seasoned, it's time to cook. I have a cast iron pan here and I have it on medium heat. I am making sure I have everything I need within arm's reach. There's a lot of differing opinions about what temperature the steak should be when you put it in the pan. I feel like if I let my steak sit out for 15-20 minutes before I cook it, that's the perfect amount of time. Once we start cooking the steak, everything happens quickly. I have a little vegetable oil in my pan. I'm letting it heat up in medium-high heat. And then I'm gonna wait until I start to see little wisps of smoke, and then I can put my steak in the pan. You can use cast iron, you can use stainless steel, it's all up to you. The only thing that's gonna change is the amount of heat that you have on the pan. My steak has been sitting over here. If there's any moisture there, I like to get it off of the steak. Moisture is the enemy of browning. I'm gonna drop it in the pan away from me so I don't get splattered with oil. I see smoke here, and that's okay. I just don't want to see billowing smoke. If I start to see the smoke like really getting and overtaking the room, I have to control my temperature, lower my heat. And all I really want to do is start to get this caramelized on the one side. Most novice cooks start to get nervous. They start moving things around. Take your time. It's going to take at least 3 or 4 minutes on one side. After a few minutes, if you want to check on your progress, you can always just lift it lightly and see where you're going. We really don't have any color yet, so I let it go and get some color on it. The only thing I might do is move it around in the fat so that the fat is touching the bottom of the steak so that we get nice browning on that side. It's good 3 or 4 minutes on this side. One thing that most people neglect is this nice fatty side, and that fat cap has a lot of flavor. But you don't want to eat fat that is not cooked enough. You want the fat to kind of get crispy, because fat that's just warm is like chewing fatty beef bubble gum, and you don't want that. I'm just gonna hold it on the fat cap side before I put it down on the opposite side. If you look at this side of the steak, it has a nice brown crust, it's not burned, and that salty crust is what's gonna make our steak delicious. And at this point, while the steak is cooking, I can get my aromatics ready. I just get maybe 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. And this is what you see chefs do in the restaurants. I just want to break the garlic so that we get some of that garlic scent. It adds flavor, but it doesn't overpower it. I have some sprigs of thyme. The butter goes in the pan now. The reason we don't add the butter at the beginning is because it'll totally burn, and it'll be black butter, not brown butter. Brown butter has really nice flavor. I'm gonna lower it to a medium heat, start taking my butter, and start basting my steak. Sometimes you'll see there's bald spots or light spots on your steak. Baste in that spot. That's what this is for. Not only for flavor, but it's gonna aid in browning on those bald spots. It smells delicious. My butter is nice and foamy. You'll see that I'm tilting my pan. My steak is not sitting in the butter. The butter is down at the bottom, and I just baste as I go. You can see that my steak is nice and golden brown, and that's what I want. I'm gonna temp my steak now. A lot of people will complain, you should never stick meat with anything sharp. All the juices are gonna flow out. As a great man once said, it's a steak, not a balloon. A couple of pokes with a thermometer is not gonna ruin our steak. Right now at the center point, we're at about 100 degrees. And you'll notice that when I take a temp, I'm not taking it on the ends, I'm taking it right in the center of the steak. I'm not sticking into the fatty parts. Fat gets hotter faster than the meat does. For a finished medium steak, I want it to be about 140 degrees. Give it like another minute, and then I'm gonna take it out and let it rest. Let's take our steak out. It's golden brown on all sides. It's nice and crispy. We have a nice crust on it. We're gonna take it and put it on our rack to rest. We don't want the steak to sit in the juices. If it sits in its own juices, it's gonna steam in its juices. When the steak rests, the juices can drip off. We have to let it rest for about 5 to 7 minutes. If you don't let it rest, your steak is gonna be bleeding everywhere. All the juices are gonna run out, and you're gonna have a dry steak. The other concept I like to talk about is carryover cooking. Even though it's on a resting rack, it continues to cook, right? And usually it cooks up about 5 more degrees. So if I want it to be about 145, I'm gonna take it out at 140 and let it rest. So we're gonna give this about 5 to 7 minutes to rest, and then we're gonna slice it and plate it up and eat it. My steak's been resting, but before I cut it, I want to talk about a couple of tools that I have. This is just a standard plastic cutting board. It's got 2 separate sides you can work off of. This is a flat side, and the flat side is mainly for chopping. But what most people don't know is that the other side has this groove. And this is called a juice groove. It's actually for slicing meat. If any juice flows off of your meat, it gets caught here and it doesn't go all over your table. And then I have a slicing knife. You can tell a slicing knife because it has these little scallops in the side. A slicing knife has these scallops so that the meat won't stick to the knife. Without further ado, let's slice our steak. I got a nice plate. Now, with certain cuts of steak, you have to be really
Let's watch like 2 more recipes. But we're gonna see if we can do this shit. No, Gordon Ramsay's gonna be too fast. Slow down, Mr.
Today on the Stay at Home Chef, I'm showing you how to cook steak perfectly every time. This method works for any cut of steak and will help you achieve the perfect steak every single time. There's no need to be intimidated by cooking steak because it's actually super easy, and I'm gonna show you how. The first thing you need to do is pull your steaks out and let them sit at room temperature for at least 30 minutes. If you're using frozen steaks, you'll want to thaw them in the fridge first, but you do want them to come to room temperature. And if you'll notice, we're using nice thick steaks. Thick steaks are actually easier to cook perfectly. Thin steaks will cook too fast and may even dry out, so choose a good thick steak. Today we're using a couple of New York strip steaks, but this same method works with ribeye, or T-bone, or even filet, so choose a cut of steak that you like. You can see this steak has some nice marbling in it and some fat around the outside. There are actually 3 different grades of beef: select, choice, and prime, and it's all based on the marbling and flavor in the beef. Now, the difference between select and choice is actually pretty big, so I always recommend choosing at least choice grade or prime grade beef when you're making steak. This is actually a choice grade New York steak. Once your steaks have had a chance to sit out at room temperature for 30 minutes, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and heat a large, heavy skillet on the stove until it's smoking hot. Then we'll prep our steaks. Drizzle just a little bit of olive oil onto each steak and rub it into the top and the sides, as well as the bottom. Then we're gonna put together our rub. Today I'm gonna keep it super simple and just use a mixture of salt and pepper. I'm gonna use a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and half a teaspoon of white pepper, and mix these together. You can add other spices and herbs, but I like to keep it simple and let the meat shine. We're gonna take this mixture, sprinkle it over our steaks, and rub it right in. You want to make sure you do both sides. Now, since these steaks are really thick, you want to go a little more heavy-handed than you might think. Before we go over and cook our steaks, there's one last thing we want to do. I like to finish off my steaks with butter, so I'm going to make a little garlic compound butter here by mixing 2 tablespoons of softened butter with 1 to 2 cloves of crushed garlic, and you just mash that together with a fork. You can also add in fresh herbs to this butter to make it an herbed compound butter, but I'm keeping it simple with just a little bit of garlic. Next, we're gonna head on over to the stove, and I'm pretty sure our skillet is smoking hot, which is exactly what we need. Place the steaks down directly into the pan. You don't need oil or anything. And we're gonna sear each side of the steak for 2 to 3 minutes per side. And then, since these have a little fat strip that runs along the side, you wanna render that fat down. So just turn it onto its side and hold it there with tongs. You always wanna render the fat so you don't end up with a chewy piece of fat around the edges. Once it's seared on both sides and you've rendered the fat, then just slide them in the oven to finish cooking. The amount of time that you need to leave your steaks in the oven varies depending on how long you seared your steaks and how thick they are. A good rule of thumb is about 5 minutes per inch, but if you want a next, we're gonna head on over to the stove, and you wanna make sure you do both sides. Now, since these steaks are really thick, you want to go a little more heavy-handed than you might think. Before we go over and cook our steaks, there's one last thing we want to do. I like to finish off my steaks with butter, so I'm going to make a little garlic compound butter here by mixing 2 tablespoons of softened butter with 1 to 2 cloves of crushed garlic, and you just mash that together with a fork. You can also add in fresh herbs to this butter to make it an herbed compound butter, but I'm keeping it simple with just a little bit of garlic. Next, we're gonna head on over to the stove, and I'm pretty sure our skillet is smoking hot, which is exactly what we need. Place the steaks down directly into the pan. You don't need oil or anything. And we're gonna sear each side of the steak for 2 to 3 minutes per side. And then since these have a little fat strip that runs along the side, you wanna render that fat down. So just turn it onto its side and hold it there with tongs. You always wanna render the fat so you don't end up with a chewy piece of fat around the edges. Once it's seared on both sides and you've rendered the fat, then just slide them in the oven to finish cooking. The amount of time that you need to leave your steaks in the oven varies depending on how long you seared your steaks and how thick they are. A good rule of thumb is about 5 minutes per inch, but if you want 100% accurate results, use a meat thermometer. I pull my steak out when it reaches 130 degrees Fahrenheit for a good medium rare. The steaks will need to rest for at least 10 minutes before serving, so you want to dollop on a tablespoon of butter onto each one, so it'll melt over the steak while it rests. As you let your steaks rest, the internal temperature will continue to rise by about 5 degrees. It's important to let your steaks rest because it gives them a chance for the juices to reabsorb into the meat, giving you the juiciest, most perfect steak possible. After 10 minutes of resting, you are ready to eat. Thanks for watching. You can find the full written recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow, and check out the rest of my videos where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes you can easily make at home. See you later.
Let's watch. Looks like 2 more. How to cook beef like a pro. Steakhouse ribeye at home. Let's see what girl on.
Okay, so look, when I tell you it's simple, I want you to take a look at these ingredients, right? We finna make a restaurant.
What the fuck?
A restaurant style steak, you know what I mean? I don't know no other way. How it got to become a restaurant style.
What's a freezer? What the fuck going on?
Oh, that's cause I guess they making it for you. Well, I'll show you how to make these. It's so easy. Now look at these ingredients right here. Look, you see this right here? Fresh ground black pepper, right? Kosher salt. That
Why's my shit freezing? What the fuck? We ain't never did that, bro.
do have a little trick, which I'm going to show you guys now. We're going to dry brine it. We're going to use a little bit of that. When I say a little bit, we're going to use a lot of that salt. You guys are...
What the fuck is going on?
Be questioning me, talking to me about it. For those of you guys that don't know, we got butter. That's going to be for that basting. And then we got garlic cloves. Right now, if you come over here, we got rosemary and thyme. Very, very traditional. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this number one question right here. How do you guys like your steak? Let me know down in the comment section below. And I intentionally didn't mention this right here. Here we go, folks. USDA Prime. Now, listen, this is a boneless, ribeye steak. Look at that right there. I'm just going to lay him right there. Next, we're getting ready to, make sure everything is nice, dry. Look at that. Look at the marbling on this, folks. Now, when I talk about marbling, you see all of this right here. This is the flavor. This is the fat. We even gonna go ahead and do a little bit like this. But look, that is nice right there. So, let me move on to the next step. I'm gonna say it like this. It's a little bit of a part to it. You know what I mean? When I say, I divide this up into two parts. When I do these, you don't have to do this, but if you guys are looking for the maximum flavor, we wanna go ahead and brine, right? Everybody knows that I always use kosher salt. If you look at it, if you just come in here, let me see. I'd have to bring it over here. It's a coarse grind, right? So let me bring that over there like that. I like this. I put this on the top. Listen, it's gonna look like a lot of salt, but what it does is when you get it, it's gonna take a little bit of salt. You put that on the top of there, right? You can go ahead and give it a little bit of pat. And then whatever falls down on whatever plate or tray that you're using, get it all over. I like to get it all on the sides and everywhere. I flip it over and I do the same thing. I'm gonna quit talking about it. I'm just gonna show you as I go. Right, so now look at what I'm doing. Look at the coverage, right? There's not a lot of salt, folks. What it's gonna do is it's gonna dry out some of this moisture in the inside, and by the morning, it's gonna rehydrate everything back and take the salt in it with it. right? This is how we get the flavor. Look at the thickness of this. You see that right there? We want it to be flavorful down there, not just on the top. All right, so now we do the exact same thing that we did on the other side, right? Now, I know you just saw that, drop on the, onto the tray. That is no problem, folks. You want to get it on the side, because remember, I told you we finna pick these up and make sure that we have, salt throughout. Okay, so this is gonna work in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? We're gonna put these in there overnight. Ooh, I like the way this is looking right here. This is good, even coverage. You know what I mean? So we'll do that. You just take a little bit, put a little bit here, and a little bit there, right? So this is why I say that. Remember we talked about this right here? See that right there? Now I take it like this, and I just work it around. We want to pick it all up. See, it's starting to get moist. Call that like a meat sweat, right? So don't worry. You do this, and here, all this comes into play, right? Put that there. We do the same thing over here. Now I think I'm gonna just add a little bit more to it. Now, some of you guys are gonna be asking me how come I'm not gonna be using, black pepper. I can tell you this from a lot of the queuing that I do, black pepper takes on a whole different taste, and it makes everything a little bit dark. So listen, this is supposed to be for Valentine's Day, so we want this to be one of the prettiest steaks we've ever seen, right? We're gonna add something to it, but we're not gonna put it on there and start frying it, start, putting it in the pan at an early, time, right? So you see that right there? And notice how I'm doing this. I just like to keep everything bunched up just like this, nice and tight. I'm looking at it and I love it. Now, here's the key. And that is, we're gonna put this in the refrigerator and we're not gonna cover it. Just trust me, folks. We getting into like a little bit of like that dry aging for them long days, but overnight, this is gonna be perfect. It's gonna allow that salt to penetrate this meat, pull out some of that moisture, hydrate with the moisture, and then go back in there. I want you guys to look at it, first thing in the morning, when I bring this out, and you'll see it's gonna look a little dry, but we ain't worried about none of that. Then we're gonna go ahead and, cook it up. Now, I asked you guys, what is the way you like to eat your, your steak? Is it well done, medium well, medium? Now we finna get in down to them low temperatures. Some of you guys like to eat that raw meat, so they say, but it's not raw. You know what I mean? So if you want to do medium rare, or if you want to do rare, which I don't suggest, medium rare or medium well. I like mine medium well. Anyway, I'm not going to overtalk no more. Put this in the refrigerator, no covering, no napkin, no nothing. Let the refrigerator do its work and let that salt work. Hey, see you tomorrow. All right, folks, look, day 2, super excited. I might not have it on my face right now, but listen, when it comes to steak, I eat these quite often. I kind of like slowed down a little bit because I done had them so much, you know what I mean? But come on in here and take a look at this right here. This is what it look like when they come out of that refrigerator. Now, these have been out of the refrigerator for about an hour. What I want to do is, or what you want to do is, you bring them out of the refrigerator and you want to let these start to, become room temperature, right? And I'm gonna explain that part to you right now. Let's look at the side of this right here. Let's just say this line right here will be the middle, right? If that's super cold and we go in here to try to cook it to get it to the desired tenderness that we want, whether we want medium rare, medium, or well done, right? You gotta cook it. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, if we cooking to put the heat on there, if this center part right here is cold, you'll never be able to get that cooked. So when you have it room temperature, folks, you know what I mean? It makes it easier. We're gonna put the sear on it and then we're gonna just flip it back and forth and then we're gonna monitor it, right? And how we gonna monitor the internal temperature here? And that's this right here. You gotta get yourself one of these. You know what I mean? That'll be one of these meat thermometers. You gotta have one. I know, Granny, I know I can see you nudging on my shoulders right now, telling me, hey, that's not how I get down, but look, that's to get down for 2026. You know what I'm saying? We gotta check that internal. Now, if you look over here, we got the cast iron. Oh, before we even get over here, I want you to pay attention right here. Look, we got some rosemary, and we got some thyme, we got butter, and then we got some garlic. This is super easy, to do. A lot of people are scared of it. Most people that I know like to have their steak well done anyway, so you won't have no problems, right? But if you want to reach a temperature of 125 to 130, we gotta work with it a little bit, right? So we just gonna sear it, get it nice and hot, and then we're gonna just keep flipping it back and forth, and then we're gonna check our internals again with this. Let me pull this out. Now, with the cast iron right here, because this holds super heat, right? Let's go ahead, and I'm gonna start with a high flame, you know what I mean? Because I want to get this nice and hot. All right, look, I'm gonna stand in front of this so I can have something dark in the background. I want you to look at this right here. You can see that this is hot. right? This is what we're gonna need. Now, when you look at my steaks, I'm not gonna add no more salt because we did all of that. It has brined very, very good. You see how dry that is? After the salt draws out the moisture, then it rehydrates it back in the inside and takes that flavor with it, right? So we got some good marbling. I'm gonna start with this one here, right? So you see that right here? You see this is nice and hot. You don't want to do anything but put this down right here in the center, and that's it. What I do is I do take my finger and just make sure that I got maximum, maximum surface contact, right? So we leave it like that. I'm looking at this. Okay, now I went from high because I wanted to get my skillet nice and hot.
I might be able to do that.
Now I go to a medium high. Oh, we good. We working now.
Hopefully I don't burn this bitch down. 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 I'm finna 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 burn this bitch down. Hopefully I don't burn this motherfucker down. I'm finna burn this motherfucker down. I'm finna burn this motherfucker down. Hopefully I don't burn this bitch down. I'm finna try to cook a steak for the motherfucking first time. Hopefully I don't burn. I don't even know if I bought the right cut of meat. New York strip steak. I'm finna burn this bitch down. Oh, yes. I hate touching. I hate touching raw meat. Oh, yes. I'm gonna burn this bitch down. Yo, oh, finna burn this bitch down. Finna burn this bitch down. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yo, fucking hate this. I just hate the smell of meat. I don't fucking know why. Oh, oh, oh. What you mean? Beef, boy. That's that beef, boy. Good old prime Angus beef, boy. Good old Texas beef, boy. I watch your meat. I watch your meat if you watch my meat. Oh shit. Yuck. Fucking ew. Good old prime Angus beef right there, boy. Good old Texas beef, boy. Oh, dear God. Smells. Sure is. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Try that meat. 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 Ew, this shit is disgusting. Lord, we want to thank you for our prime Angus Texas beef. That little cattle that gave its life so that we could have supreme nourishment, boy. Can you use sea salt for a steak or no? What the fuck? Let's talk to ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Salted. Let's just dump some of it. Oh shit! Supposed to be up high with it. Ooh, 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 ooh. I feel like we're gonna need a little more than that. They said season heavily or generously because it's a thick piece of meat. So it's gonna take more to. You like that word, motherfucker? Oh, yeah. All I'm saying is motherfucking Gordon Ramsay been quiet as fuck since I stepped on the scene. Yeah, fuck yeah. That might be too much. Gordon Ramsay been quiet as fuck since I stepped on the scene. Someone holler at me. I've never cooked a steak before in my life. I've never really cooked much in my life besides pasta and maybe a chicken. Black pepper. Some people said, well, one, no, I forgot what the chef was, but I think it was with the New York Times. He said use black pepper. Some random white lady said don't use black pepper. Where the New York Times, goddammit. Is that enough? I'm not sure that's enough. I don't know. Probably be heating up. pan get hot. I should probably follow a recipe. Wolfgang Puck. He might as well go and shut his fucking restaurants down. When I get to Vegas. Where did he go? Where did the guy from New York Times go? Ah, Jason. Let's go with Jason.
Whenever I cook for someone for the first time, I always rack my brain on what to make. It's stressful. And yet every time the answer is steak. Because all it takes is...
First things first, important tip I'm going to give. I'm here to the Noma fermentation guide, read it a bedtime story, and let it rest. Now we're ready to cook the steak. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around. Take a medium to large size skillet and bring it up over medium-high heat with about 2 tablespoons of oil in it. Make sure this oil is a high smoke point oil. Now while that's heating up, pat your room temperature steak with a paper towel just to make sure that it's dried off, and season it very generously with kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Don't be too scared to go heavy on that salt. This is a thick steak, and it's very sad when you get an under-seasoned steak. Now for the moment of truth. Once your pan is rip-roaring hot, you're gonna add your steak. Now the way you can tell that it's hot enough is the oil should be shimmering and moving around the pan really easily, and it should be just about the smoke. More importantly, you should hear this sound. Now, if you're like me and you like your steak medium rare, then you're gonna sear that bad boy at that hot temperature for 2 to 3 minutes on both sides until you get that nice crisp brown crust. Now, I'll talk about temperatures in a minute, but when you flip that steak to sear the other side, let it sear for about 30 seconds to a minute, then add 4 tablespoons or 56 grams of unsalted butter, 2 cloves of garlic lightly crushed, left in their skins, and 1 bunch of fresh thyme. Let that butter melt and baste the steak over and over for a minute or so until you've reached the desired doneness. This is the other secret to good steak. Baste and baste and baste with butter. There is nothing that can go wrong with that. Make sure to keep a close eye on that internal temperature so you don't overcook it. You know, you can do the touch test if you know it, but if you don't know it, then the internal temperature you're looking for medium rare is 135. Now, as soon as that steak is done, immediately take it out of the pan, place it on a cutting board, and pour all that sweet butter and juices on the top. And then let it rest for 5 to 8 minutes before cutting into it, and you've got the most amazing steak of your life. So yes, the answer is that simple. And if you follow these guidelines, you too can become a steak master. But before that happens, we've got one more set of B-roll.
Oh. This pan ain't big enough. Mercy. about maintaining temperature. A good steak is all about maintaining temperature. Ah, shit, that's not. It's all about maintaining temperature, boy. A good steak is all about maintaining temperature. Remember, temperature. You can't get your temperature. You don't, boy. You can't get the temperature right. You don't need to be in the kitchen, boy. Oh, Joe, come here to me. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Joe? Come here to me. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Joe? Look at that right there, boy. That's good old pride. Fight! Something told me I may need more songs. Hell, motherfucking yeah, boy. Ah! Let's see if I can swing it up. Hold it, What else you say this? bullshit. Why would you pick this bullshit? Look at this bullshit about Walmart delivery first to picture. I think William might be right about me and going close to show. Like, why would you pick the shit that looks stale?
Minute, but when you flip that steak to sear the other side, let it sear for about 30 seconds to a minute, then add 4 tablespoons or 56 grams of unsalted butter, 2 cloves of garlic lightly crushed left in their skins, and 1 bunch of fresh thyme. Let that butter melt and baste the steak over and over for a minute or so until you've reached the desired doneness. This is the other secret to good steak. Baste and baste and baste with butter. There is nothing that can go wrong with that. Make sure to keep a close eye on that internal temperature so you don't overcook it. You know, you can do the touch test if you know it, but if you don't know it, then the internal temperature you're looking for medium rare is 135. Now, as soon as that steak is done, immediately take it out of the pan, place it on a cutting board, and pour all that sweet butter and juices on the top. And then let it rest for 5 to 8 minutes before cutting into it, and you've got the most amazing steak of your life. So yes, the answer is that simple. And if you follow these guidelines, you too can become a steak master. But before that happens, we've got one more set of B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. Steak.
Is the other secret to good steak. So, nice crisp brown crust. Now, I'll talk about temperatures in a minute, but when you flip that steak to sear the other side, let it sear for about 30 seconds to a minute, then add 4 tablespoons or 56 grams of unsalted butter, 2 cloves of garlic lightly crushed left in their skins, and 1 bunch of fresh thyme. Let that butter melt and baste the steak over and over for a minute or so until you've reached the desired doneness. This is tablespoons or 56 grams of unsalted butter, brown crust. Now, I'll talk about temperatures in a minute, but when you flip that steak to sear the other side, let it sear for about 30 seconds to a minute, then add 4 tablespoons or 56 grams of unsalted butter, 2 cloves of garlic lightly crushed left in their skins, and 1 bunch of fresh thyme. Let that butter melt and baste the steak over and over for a minute or so until you've reached the desired doneness. This is the other secret to good steak. Baste and baste and baste with butter. There is nothing that can go wrong with that. Make sure to keep a close eye on that internal temperature so you don't overcook it. You know, you can do the touch test if you know it, but if you don't know it, then the internal temperature you're looking for medium rare is 135. Now, as soon as that steak is done, immediately take it out of the pan, place it on a cutting board, and pour all that sweet butter and juices on the top. And then let it rest for 5 to 8 minutes before cutting into it, and you've got the most amazing steak of your life. So yes, the answer is that simple. And if you follow these guidelines, you too can become a steak master. But before that happens, we've got one more set of B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. Steak. Well, that is it, steak. Right now I'm developing some baguette recipes, some sourdough baguette, and I feel like that's something that's gonna be right down your alley. Or maybe not, maybe it's not down your alley. Maybe it's on like a crossroad that's like not a part of your alley, but like it's nearby, like it's okay. And also be sure to check me out on Instagram. There's a link below, click it, check me out, love you, smooches. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe. I'm sorry, please subscribe, okay? I love you. I'm doing this for you.
I mean, it's not looking bad, honestly. Look, I might be a professional. Okay. Gotcha, dumbass. Put AI video in here. Feel like I burned it. So pretend like I burned the house down. Then we're gonna get some asparagus going. I don't even like asparagus. Now, I watched a video the other day with a lady who she made asparagus and she said you're supposed to cut off the ends. See, this is why I need to get rich so I can have a bigger fucking counter. If I had a bigger counter, better island, this would be a fucking issue. This would be a fucking issue. Fucking steak. 7th day. That motherfucking steak got a. Asparagus. Ain't nobody eating that much motherfucking asparagus. I really, really want to play. Said I really, really want to talk. Don't come into my room. How do you know where the fuck to cut asparagus? How to cut asparagus. Oh, we gotta clean the shit first.
Let's clean and trim these asparagus so we can make an awesome meal and not let anything go to waste. Hey, I'm Laura, and on this channel I share lots of family-friendly recipes and lots of how to cook videos. And asparagus are a great simple side dish that you can cook really quickly in a pan or toss it with some pasta and so much more. When I get home from the store, I simply store the asparagus, and I have an entire video showing you how to do that. But this video, we're talking about when you're standing in front of the stove and about to cook a meal. So first, let's wash the asparagus under running water. I'm gonna remove the rubber band that holds the bunch together, both the top and the bottom, so I can get really in between the stalks while washing these with cold water. Now, one great trick is to take a 9x13 baking dish, put it in your sink, and fill it with water. Then you can take the entire bunch, spread them across the pan, right like that, and give them a good shake. So that's gonna help release any dirt that might have been trapped inside the bunch. Now, once they're clean, check out how much little loose dirt and particles were left in the water. I just take my asparagus and put them on a clean kitchen towel and gently pat them dry. And now, guys, these are ready to be cooked. Now, a lot of people, they tell you just to take your asparagus and bend them whatever they naturally separate. Unfortunately, some of them are going to bend right at the middle more than at the bottom part. So you're going to have asparagus that some take this much off, some take that much. And if you're doing more than one bunch, that's gonna take a while. You just gotta sit there unless you hand them over to your kids and they can do the job for you. So what I like to do is to essentially separate a couple of them so I know more or less on average from this, bunch, how long should I trim, right? And then I take my knife and grab 5 or 6, line them up against each other at the bottom, take my knife and trim them off. And by lining them up and give or take, taking the average of the bunch, I can essentially have a nice consistent cut, which is important if you care about how it looks when it's plated, or if you want to get the most out of your asparagus. Some asparagus have an entire white part. This means that they were cut too far down, so I'm gonna cut a little bit more than that. So what I do is I just take my bunch of asparagus that have the white base, which is closer to the bottom of the plant, and put those together, and then take that average cut and move it a little higher from the white and cut right above that. And as you can see, by removing the white plus that average, they now match the previous asparagus that I also cut. Now, these asparagus are ready to be sauteed in a pan, but what if you want to cut them even further, maybe to toss them around in a salad or toss it with some pasta? By the way, if you're finding this quick video helpful, give it a thumbs up so I know to make more of them on my channel for you. Now that I've eliminated the bottom part of the asparagus, which is
Bang bang, biggity biggity bang bang. Said more butter. We do all. Why we do both? Both. That's enough. We don't need. Shit, that's hot. Keep touching hot shit. I fucking can't believe it, man. Bloody fucking hell. Bloody fucking hell. Maybe I should cook some pasta. Steak and asparagus. Oh shit. It's starting to burn. It's always been like salt and pepper. It's nothing sweet. It's nothing. This, a little bit of that, a little bit of acho la fufu, acho à foie, you get a little bit of it's nothing. You don't need to have the fancies, as truffles. You don't need to do. You don't need to do. Speaking of truffles, I ordered some truffle hot sauce. What the fuck, my packaging? You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. You just need a little bit of François, un poisson, Champs-Élysées. How do you Mexican people say assoir la foin, à la tout soin, el poisson, moi. Les soupes saucisses, les soupes saucisses, assoir. How do you know when asparagus is done? Tender but still has a little snap, lightly brown. I don't see any brown. Still has a little snap. Still has snap. It's warm. I mean, can you not eat? It's asparagus raw. Ooh, can I get to the yow yow? I said, can I get to the yow yow? I said, can I get to the yow yow? Can I get to the yow yow? I don't mean to call you no bitch, but that motherfucker good right there. I don't mean to call you no bitch, but bitch, that motherfucker good right there. I get to the yams, yo. We need serving. See, it's once again, that's why I need to get rich so I can get serving bowl. So I can run my motherfucking household the way I think a household should be ran. Run? I'm using my fucking Tupperware. Can I get to the yams, yo? Where's my phone? Okay. Almost, I give it a refresh. Fuck is the refresh button? I wanna sex you. Wanna have first me. Ah, shit, that's hot. Does it still have the snap? Oh no, oh no. Kind of lost its snap. Still got a good crunch. I'm talking about this one. That motherfucker said another minute or two. Yep, 3. Oh yeah, baby. I did my paper, bitch. Step 3. Listen on that. Oh. I don't mean to call you no bitch. Bitch. That motherfucker good. Where the fuck are all his bones? had a bigger bowl in this. I know I did. Threw my shit away. This one a fucking bathtub away. I think I fucked up. I left one or two. Baby, grind on me. Really try and make it time with me. Make a second, tick. Oh. Still got that crunch. Apparently, asparagus makes your pea steak. These are gonna be some stank pissy motherfuckers today, bro. Ah. What's this? I ain't even react, bitch. I ain't even reacting. I ain't even reacting, bitch. I ain't even reacting. Them not even hot to me. Them not even spicy to me. Oh shit! Hold on. Shit. Recorded for TikTok. Them not even spicy to me. I just made asparagus with garlic and lemon. Motherfuckers ain't fucking with me. Watch this. Let me show you how motherfucker raw I am. Hold on. Watch, I'm gonna bite straight to the bed. I ain't even reacting, bitch. I ain't even reacting. No, I ain't even reacting.
Mad ethnic right now.
Mad ethnic right now. You could catch me, Reed, and I knew like a rock. Bing, bing, nigga. Play, go, fly. About to get fucked. Catch me, Reed, and I knew like a rock. Catch me, he, and I knew like a rock. Would I be okay? I would have really turned this motherfucker up if I made some motherfucking goddamn chimichurri sauce. I overcooked it, I think. Like it should be a little more redder than that. Ayala, Shata. Rande de bo. My gosh, hey baby. Don't be scared of it, be aware of it. Don't be scared of it, be aware of it. Hell, motherfucking. You can catch me in a new La Raw. It says microwave, but I'm thinking we can cook this on a stove. Would I be okay? Motherfucker, see, that's why I don't like her using my shit. How'd you burn? Oh, I can't fucking stand her using my shit, bro. Ugh. Dear God, how do you burn fucking Tupperware, bro? Man, shit nice in this fucking house. People are so fucking just careless with items, bro. I fucking hate that. Fuck it, no small ass brain sake. Yeah, I'll eat this up. Man, shit nice in here. Oh, butter, suppose. What chef never uses butter? Chef doesn't use butter. else. Basil. Basil go in Alfredo. You never know. We'll add a little fresh basil at the end. Ah, green screen. Forgot about that. Take. What we'll do is we'll roll this up. Oh, so fragrant. I wish you could smell the basil. I really wish you could smell the basil. I like everything to be finely and thinly chopped. Fucking gobble. Where's the fucking gobble? Only the finest. Alfredo from Carbone. Thank you. I'll just tell me these big ass chunks of meat. Let's have another slice. And my stomach didn't start hurting this time. Wow. Pasta. Don't forget about the pasta. Life is worth living. That's how you cook a motherfucking steak, bitch. Hell, motherfucking yeah. I don't even call you no bitch, but bitch. That motherfucker clean like that. Let's try this out. See what this is. Oh shit. I'm not even expecting too much of this, honestly. Only motherfucking thing about cooking, clean up. That's the only fucking thing. Another motherfucking reason why I need to be rich. Good God Almighty, bitch. Oh, that looks good, bro. There's a meeting in myself. Work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Up in Marigold. Listen to the love and the dark you flow while the time is light. And then we need some motherfucking mashed potatoes. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and get the fuck up over it, matter of fact.